Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today on Wonderful Wednesday? Yes, this is going to be a unique edition of Conversations for Humanity. We're not streaming live like we normally do because our special guest is on the road having to get things done and everything like that. So we wanted to do this in a great, awesome, and offline kind of way. But this will be posted to our social media here today later on and everything like that. But our special guest today is Michaell. He is wanting to come share his story with us on Conversations for Humanity. But Michaell, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing today, sir?
You're welcome. Thanking you for giving me a canvas to paint because you know I'm an artist.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you could, Michaell, kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we'll go into your story, and we will love to hear from you today, sir.
Yeah. So the luck for me to got into humanity was I was a sick child, and I I got the second punch in the face when I went to school with 7. Because I'm extremely neurodivergent. I'm dyslexic and dysgraphia and dyscalculia. And I couldn't understand stuff. I have no education. I had to be totally by myself. But in that, I discovered how limitless humanity is. I found my own one-on-oneness and found how powerful we actually can be, even though we are not having an education, we are not healthy, we are nothing. And I really learned to love my own humanity and the humanity of my fellow humans that actually helped me and talked to me. And because I couldn't talk in school, I couldn't belong in school, whatever. But the art world helped me, to integrate. And they weren't judgmental. They don't care if I have an education or not. If I was creative, I could be part of it. And we all artists. We all have we all are creators. So I learned through my hardship. I learned the love of humans, and I learned the understanding of what humans are. They are all one-on-one, and they're not like man, woman, race, whatever color or whatever. They are all one-on-one, and nature doesn't make a mistake, and we are supposed to, because otherwise we would fall in love with the same woman. We are, we have to find synergistically who we belong to, and like you and I met. We met a couple of months ago, and just we connected, and that's why it was so interesting. And there's Mark, a colleague of mine with which we work. I work very intensely with him on human centric stuff, and he's also very convinced about the one-on-oneness, and he finds it scientifically even very prevalent to understand science and the whole world in the 3 parts that we discovered is human centricity. That's by nature we are one-on-one. System relevance. That's like after the Second World War, we had to do the Industrial Revolution. We had to do something together. Men were men, women were women, and now the digital world, where we can be anything, and that's why. And by mixing it, we're losing our humanity, because in the digital world, you just make it up. Say, hey, I want to be a monkey. Oh, good, I'm a monkey. So call me. Identify as monkey. Don't call me a man. Don't call me a boy. Don't call me white. I'm a monkey. So this is totally made up. So the digital world is totally made up. The system world is more, it's all generalizing human, stereotyping human. But the human centricity is really, that's how we function. And that's why we function like that. But we're pretending in the system relevant world and in the digital world that is the right world. But it isn't the right world, because if it was, then a CEO in a New York high rise would not fall in love with his secretary. We function human centrically, one-on-one, and fall in love, and not because I'm the CEO and you a secretary. We fall in love. So, we function, but we pretend in the Monopoly or chess game or digital world game what's supposed to be. But basically, we are always human. No matter wherever we're
Mhm.
going, we have to come back and say, Chris, that's it. We are who we are. We are humans first.
Absolutely, Michael. And I truly believe that the one thing that interconnects us all is our very humanity. And once we tap into that, Michael, it's truly game on from there. So I see we have another guest with us today. If you could please, sir, introduce yourself and what led you to our call today.
Can you hear me? Is my mic coming here?
Yeah, your mic is
Yeah.
on.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, yeah, my name is Mark. Looks like I'm logged in as Spirit Man. That's okay too. I'm here because of the wonderful Mr. Magrutsche has been informing me of a different
You're
way of
freezing.
thinking, non-linear thinking, and I agree that this is the true way of a universal logic that can bring humanity together in its truer nature, in its higher spirit. And I feel like we need that higher spirit right now more than ever. And Michael has been an unstoppable force of that kind of logic, that kind of love. And I really feel like I can amplify his voice and want to amplify his voice and anybody like him. So I figured if you're like him, Chris, I better come. And it looks like that's why you are. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, Mark, definitely me and you need to connect very soon too as well. We're glad that you are here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us today when Michael's sharing his story. But Michael, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
What really kind of showed up for you that says, hey, this is the way I'm going to add value to humanity. This is what I'm going to do. This is my passion, my purpose. This is my calling. How did that journey start, number one? And then number two, what have you learned along the way of understanding the one of oneness kind of dynamic, and how has that played out for you on your journey?
Okay, so I was the outcast, right? I was the one that couldn't understand, couldn't read, couldn't speak, stuttered. I was the one that was actually cast out. So I was thinking that was horrible, and I shamed myself till I was 53, and thought there's something entirely wrong with you because the system keeps reiterating, just push through.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
The
Did
system,
we
and
lose him?
I was.
keep going, Michael. You're good.
Um, uh, I found art creation that allowed me to create, and I found also that the people in the art creation were true humans. If a woman played a man's role, then it played it. It doesn't mean she was gay or anything. She just played that. And I learned a lot from art creation that you always contribute. Whenever you create collective in art, you always contribute. And that gave me my self-esteem because I wouldn't have any self-esteem because the school was saying basically, hey, you're too stupid. Sorry, you can't. And then, but art was saying, hey, you're not the best artist, but you are good in that. You're good playing a rabbit or painting, a monkey or whatever. And so you got some feedback that you are contributing to whatever we do. I didn't think about humanity then or anything, but I thought, Chris, wow, I actually have some value. And when you get feedback and say, hey, Chris, I like your program, you like it. You don't need it, but you like it to have the confirmation that what you feel you're contributing. And then when the feedback is that you do contribute, that makes it happy, makes you happy, makes you move on and not give up.
That is amazing. And see, for me, Michael, when we really realize the people or the things that people put in front of us may not be what's actually there, and we see that kind of aha moment opening up for us, it literally changes our world because if we allow it to do so, not only can it be transformative, but also it can show us the very gifts that we've actually been bestowed upon in and of
Exactly.
itself, despite what other people tell you.
100%. I always said I gotta be exactly like what's supposed to be. How should the CEO act? How should the leader act? How should this act? And it's like No, how, even with success, when you ask people about success, right? You ask them, everybody will tell you a different story because we are all one-on-one.
Absolutely, absolutely, and hopefully the internet gremlins are not
Yeah.
playing games with you.
Many success books are there, millions of success books, and everybody had a different way of succeeding because everybody is a one-on-one and not a generalization. And when you just shift from, you cannot be generalized. Chris, Mark, and Michael cannot be generalized. And anybody who listens to this, you got to find what is your particularity, what is your one-on-one-ness, how do you function? I'm engaging an animal this way. You engage an animal another way. Mark engages an animal, doesn't at all. He doesn't want to engage an animal, for example. So we act differently, and we got to act in a way where we can actually act and not where we're supposed to. You got to be an accountant. If I don't know anything about figures and with my dyslexia, I cannot be an accountant. I need to be that what I can be, you know?
Absolutely. And see, for me, when I see people even telling other people, you can't do this or you can't do that, you got to
Yeah,
be put in a box or you got to be labeled and everything like
exactly.
that. I tell them, you actually determine your own future, not them.
Yep.
And I naturally believe, Michael and Mark, what we have done for so long is we literally have given the power to people to tell us the way we want to live our lives, think out loud, be in a certain way, and everything like that. And see, when I was younger, Michael, I thought I had to keep my head down, not say a word,
Yep.
shut up, and just
Same
do
here.
what I got to
Yep.
do. But that's not the way to live, because then when you get to that point, Michael, you get into a point of existence, not really living.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You never find yourself. You try always to adapt, and you never find yourself because adaptation is our third superpower. The fact that you and Mark and I can talk here is because we have six senses and we adjust so we can actually talk through a phone. Now it's even more because I think now we actually could do it through a phone. I can't even really see you. That's
And
why I say
hopefully,
that dancing with each other is so uh,
those internet gremlins.
straightforward. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we are and we are more true to each other, and also we can find, oh, Chris is really smart. When you play with, when we play each other, when I come into a business situation with you, I can't figure out if you're smart. I need to meet you over and over and over and over again. But if I have a leisurely talk that is just a play, a game, a dance, I get the insights of who you are, who Mark is, and how we all three do together. You know.
So since you've been on this journey, Michael, and I'll bring Mark in here in just a minute. Since you've been on this journey, what have you seen from the place that you really, again, it's about one of one and that kind of thing? And how's that played out for you when you actually are interacting with people on a daily basis, whether that you may be in alignment with them or may be in agreement with them, or it could be both? But how's that
Mm-hmm.
played out for you along that journey in and of itself? Because I truly believe we literally inhabit every environment that we're a part of, whether we're working at work, we're at home with our families and everything
Yeah.
like that. But how's that kind of shown up for you on the day to day? How's that kind of come to fruition that you can say to people, you are not only of one, but you have one of many, but you can actually determine that one of one from where you know who you really are, and that literally that state of being.
Yeah, I literally have to admit here that till 53, I needed to figure everything out. I read everything, I listened to everything, I tried to figure out. I tried to understand everything: religion, philosophy, business, success. I had a real hard time because I'm neurodiverse. I couldn't
Right.
that I published was The Smart of Art. I segregate. Art creation is the human-centric thing, the one-on-oneness, where you are creating something with your non-physical self, and then once it's finished, you push it into the market where it becomes a commodity, and that's where it's treated totally different. So you learn, you have a total magic in creating, and then you bring it into the market, and it becomes a commodity, and it's treated like. It helped me tremendously to see the one of oneness. And now when I engage with any people, it's like, oh, Chris, you are one, what an honor. You are one of 8 billion people. One of 8 billion. I mean, just you can't even wrap your head around that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of 8 billion, right? And what an honor is that you and I meet. And what an honor that life brought us together, and that we not start fighting and trying to be better, but basically both are right. And I'm telling you my experience, you tell me your experience, and I think that's the highest form of learning that humans can do. When they don't say, "Oh, he's wrong, he's a Republican, he doesn't know, he's a Democrat, he doesn't know." No, everybody's right for them because they're one-on-one, and everybody can share with you, because that's why we say sharing is caring. We share my experience, you share your experience, and in that combination we confirm our life perspective, because you and I have a different life perspective. We are fulfilled by different things. Yeah, we are, you might like the red car and I might like a green motorcycle. And so we have different thing that fulfills us. But fulfillment is the magic where it says, when you feel fulfilled, that means you're on the right path. It doesn't mean you get money. It doesn't mean you get fame. The fulfillment is the feedback loop that you are on your right path. Money is usually the last thing that comes when you naturally build up your one-on-oneness. That's usually the last thing that comes in, because, till you manifest your one-on-oneness, because we are so conditioned over generations that we are, nothing. We have to fit in. We have to be a man. We have to be a woman. We have to be that race. We have to be this way. We have to be rich. We have to be poor. So we don't know who we are. So the older we get and the more we unveil of who we are, that one-on-oneness, the more we are recognizable. Because what's the magic of being the one-on-one is other people recognize, yeah, Michael is not super successful. He's not Elon Musk, right? But he knows who he is. And that resonates with you because you're supposed to know also who you are. And so that we then synergistically can dance with each other.
I love that. I love that. And let's bring Mark in. And Mark,
Mac,
like I said, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to get to know a little bit about, of course, who you are. And also, how did you and Michael get to meet? And what is it like to really learn from someone who really has probably changed your life forever? How's that come about for you, Mark?
Well, it's an interesting story. I'm trying to change the world, and it just so happens that he's doing it in a similar way. And his language, though, is a little bit more digestible to the public, and it's a much more powerful message that I think is intuitively understandable. Whereas the approach that I was taking is a little bit more academic, and I'm trying to bridge those worlds. So the fact that we came together at the right time in something called the Octopus Movement was wonderful for me. And I don't know if you've heard about the Octopus Movement or if Michael's ever mentioned it, but it's a community of nonlinear thinkers and a lot of neurodiversity that you wouldn't find anywhere else, in one little nucleus of beautiful personalities and a lot of incredible talents. And so Michael was on there, of course, spreading the message. He's proselytizing the one of one, which he should be. And I really loved his energy. And he ended up coming to these other chats that I was having every day to try and accelerate this paradigm shift in how we think about ourselves. And that we need a radical shift, not just one or two things. We need a bunch of things changing all at once to have a gestalt, a new being, a new spirit come forward. And when I was chatting with him, his spirit is very strong, and other people didn't quite understand him because they don't know how to recognize this new way of life. But
Right.
because of the universal logic, I have a kind of neurotypical neurology, but with an atypical logic. And it was this universal logic that allowed me to recognize the truth of his words in a way that ordinary consciousness would miss. And so I thought,
Right.
wait a second, this guy is actually the answer. He's aligned with the truth. Even though he's saying it very simply, the way he's using the words is in this higher kind of spirit. And so I got really curious about him, and I thought, how deep does this go? And it goes deep. And I was
It never
impressed. I was
ends.
very
It's
happy.
never ending. It's never ending.
It's a rabbit hole. It's a monkey hole, as we might call it.
I don't
Michael
even
calls
know
it
what
monkey
comes
rabbit.
in. I'm just
Oh, the gremlin's got him.
The gremlin's got him again.
most interested in that's why I love other people, because when you talk with other people, so much more comes in than when you think alone. Alone is fine. It's not bad when you should be alone too, but when you interact with people honestly in a human-centric dialogue, when it's not about right, but although both people are right, and we're not talking about system, which political party is right or which soccer team is better. When we talk about just life, this is where the wisdom comes in and the awareness.
Right, exactly. And I love the way you kind of articulated that, Mark, about it's like a universal truth kind of dynamic. And,
Yep.
and when you really think about when it comes to universal truth, there are some things that are just naturally ingrained, not only in nature, but in literally in every aspect of life. Just like with balance, balance is in every aspect of our lives, whether we recognize it or not. It's there. But if we don't recognize it, what do we become? We become
Exactly.
imbalanced because of that and
Yep.
everything. So
Beautiful.
I understand the universal laws. It's just like the law of incremental growth states that you can't be 3 feet one day and then 6 feet the next. It just doesn't
Yep.
work that way. Even though you
Yep.
would like to have that giant leap forward, but I believe that's where the kind of eye-opening moment has for us is when we create momentum, and we create it in a way that time literally speeds by at such a pace that we don't see that big leap as we think that we are having it, when in fact it's actually not that big leap that we are wanting to see. It's those small steps each and every single time that we take. And of course, again, time is so linear into a degree, time is actually passing by us. We're not actually passing through time and everything. So when you look at it from that standpoint, that is where we can really have those eye-opening moments and realize, hey, I can make an impact here because of these things. Recognize balance, understanding, a growth potential dynamic, thriving potential dynamic, and everything in between. Because when I just allow that to be there, the next thing you know, not only would those universal truths show up to me maybe in a completely different way than what other people have told me it should show up to me as, then I can literally maybe at that given moment, Mark, and I want to get your take on this, and I know Michael will chime in here in a second, that we can set aside all those kind of things, especially in the now moment that we're on this conversation right now, set aside those kind of things that keep us from blocking not only of the gifts that can be given, but the blessings that can be given, but the knowledge, the thoughtfulness and the mindfulness, and like I said, everything in between. When we just allow that kind of stuff to be there, it changes everything, does it not?
Absolutely. Do you want to go first, Michael?
Go ahead. I agree with everything Chris said. I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's like hang up. Let's just get to business. I'm very much resonant too, and I think a lot of us have sensed this for a long time. The hard part is how do you get ordinary consciousness to see this different way, especially when our culture, our global society is entrenched in this external way of looking at each other. Like we're more connected than we've ever been, right? Like social media, even this video channel right now. But it feels like there's something missing. It's missing the intimacy, that inward connection. So you can see the separation, but the inner connection, the oneness, is somehow fading in the incredible diversity that the internet has opened us up to. And that diversity is a good thing. It's just that it's not in balance with the essence. And I feel like the change needs to happen through adjusting for what external consciousness is doing to measure value in that dead external way, and rotating that and accounting for it and adjusting for it to create a level playing field on that inner world of knowledge, what we call wisdom.
Right.
And anybody can have wisdom, because wisdom is simpler than just sheer IQ or system relevance, as Michael calls it. There is a much more profound way of life. And I think autistics, neurodivergents, nonlinear thinkers, these individuals who have experienced strife or challenge, they're forced to go inwards because they're not relevant to the dead system. So if you can't be relevant and survive in the dead system, you have to go inwards and you have to adapt. And Michael is a miraculous example of this. And to me, he's a miracle that I can barely survive in this toxic kind of culture we're in. And he somehow not only survived, but thrived and created some beautiful art, all while saying the same kind of message. So for me, I think this conversion factor on what we call Pareto categories is part of this solution and making that paradigm shift. In a way, it's like a small little step, but that little step is now a quantum leap, because we've done all the homework, we've done all the building,
Correct.
and now we're ready for an emergence.
Correct.
And I think there's no one else I'd rather try this with than people who have messages like you guys. Bringing humanity together in your background is exactly what we're trying to do. And same with Michael's one of one.
And I will even take that a step further, Mark, because this is what I truly believe in. When you allow intentionality to take place, because we can have the best intentions of the world, but see, also with that intention, how do we show up with that intention? There's two ways we show up with it. There's going to be probably a negative thing or a positive thing, even though we don't really should be regulating in that kind of way, but that's just kind of simple law of dynamics. There's always a yin and yang, good and bad, or whatever that kind of be. But see, I truly believe when you are intentional in what you do, and then recognize the one thing that literally is the thing that's throughout life, and that's the very constant throughout life, which is not only flow. Flow is literally interconnected to change. Change is always that constant. So when we recognize that, then we bring maybe alignment and agreement in the mix. And here's why I say that. It's because when we have those best intentions and we recognize flow and change in and of itself, when we embrace it for what it is, then we just, through the gift of invitation in and of itself, put this out to the world, whether it be the one of one, being something of something bigger than of ourselves, or whatever your passion calls you to do, whatever that might be. You put it out through the gift of invitation, through alignment and agreement. Some people may not be in alignment with you, and that's going to be a great gift in and of itself. Some people may not be only in agreement with you on some things, but not yet on alignment. But that's okay. But we're in one way, shape, matter, or form, Mark and Michael, we will have those moments in time that people can not only be in alignment with us, in agreement with us at that given moment in time, which that is, to me, it's a coup de grace moment. But when you do it from the gift of invitation, that some people can be able to say, hey, Mark, I love what you do. I'm in totally in alignment with you. But on these other things, I'm not yet with you on agreement on, but that's okay. But what you do, though, with that space in and of itself is you allow them to take their journey from the agreement dynamic and go into alignment, and just let that be there for what it is versus what it's not. Same thing in turn. with Michael. Michael might have somebody who is so in agreement with the one and oneness and everything like that, loves it all high heaven, but yet they come back to Michael and say, hey, Michael, love the one and oneness, but I'm not yet into alignment with you on these other things. But yet Michael can have the forethought to be able to say through the gift of invitation, hey, if you are in agreement with me on these things, then let's go into alignment and let's take that journey together and just let that be. So that's what I take from this now that can add value to that. But I want to go to you, Mark, to share your thoughts on that, and then we'll go over to Michael.
There's a wonderful, I'm actually surprised here that you know that distinction. There's only one other man that I know who makes that
I don't introduce you to people that are not worthy.
Well, everybody's worthy. I take in the bad one abandonment, but this is exceptional. I agree. This concept of agreement and in distinction to alignment is one that a man named Yasuhiko Kimura makes in his book Beyond Agreement. And in terms of universal logic, the difference is that alignment is about oneness. It's about moving in kind of a perfect synchrony. It's a tighter unity. Whereas the agreement, it maintains the difference, and you're in a unity, but not a oneness, right? It's still a unity, but an alignment is instantaneous. It's like lockstep. So I feel like our species right now is out of alignment in some important way, and we might be in agreement with each other on some things, but not on the essential things. And the essential things are what allow us to be in that circle of life, that non-linear way of thinking that nature works in. The nature of nature works in this completeness. And we've sort of linearized it and kind of made it flat. And there's these edges at the end where things are falling apart. So I feel like we have to align with something higher. And even the Bible warns of this, and any holy text, Buddha with his Eightfold Noble Path, the middle way, you want to align with the truth. And that truth has to be the universal kind, not like somebody's individual truth. Even though we are one of one, that essence is the collective alignment that won't create oppression. That inner alignment with the essence of things is what can be expressed in a whole bunch of diversity. So you have imbalance, oneness, and you have diversity. So I really feel like I resonate with what you're saying. And if Yasuhiko Kimura was here, he would give you tons of hearts like I'm going to do right now for that comment. So yeah, I feel like we're in alignment, on alignment. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it back, zoom out and bring it back to common sense. I think that, which is, by the way, everything is true what you both said. And I think the reason why that is, why we are so confused is we know that 80% of human problems are system relevantly created, meaning our 80% of our problems that humans have are created from systems, but not because systems are bad. Systems are the greatest. Systems are our artworks, but systems are outdated. Because you guys talked about flow, we are always in flow. The only constant that we are is change and flow. And because we're growing all the time. If I put you in solitary confinement, you grow. It doesn't matter what. If I put you out in the woods and you can't talk to anybody, you talk to yourself. We are such social animals. We have to interact with something. We cannot do that. So when you hear loneliness is a feeling.
Yeah. I agree with that, Michael. I really do.
Says
and
you
my
shouldn't
great
be lonely.
Friend, yeah. And my great friend is with us now today, Anya. Hello, Anya. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah.
Doing great. How have you been today on Wonderful Wednesday?
I'm okay. I'm trying. I have an interview tomorrow, so I'm excited to be taking that step. Hopefully, I'll be in the proper demographic in the next week or so.
All right. Very good. Anya is a good friend of mine and part of our project leadership team here at Bringing Humanity Together. She is great. You got to get to know her. She is just not only all about the data, but she really dives into it all untold. But we're just glad that you're here, Anya, and we just greatly appreciate you. And of course, our other great friend, Peter is going to be showing up here in a second. Peter, hello there, sir. How you doing today on Wonderful Wednesday?
I'm good. How are y'all doing?
Doing well, doing well. Glad that you could join us today. We've been talking with Michael and his friend Mark today about Michael's story and everything like that. So we're glad that you're both here. But I want to bring it back to what we were just talking about, Mark and Michael, about how we can really connect with each other in everything. And I truly believe the way Anya and Peter kind of popped in here is a perfect time to talk about that. I got to go to you, Mark. How do you actually take the time, not only through intentionality, but flow and change and alignment and agreement? How do you put that gift of invitation out to people and just let it be for what it is? How do you connect with people?
Great question. I would say you have to meet people in their one-of-one, as Michael would say. So there's particular ways that everybody expresses that essence. And if you know how to recognize what is the essence and what is the particular and the universal, you know how to reach them where they are, where home is for them. And if you can reach somebody where they are, you can start flowing in that natural way that has that inner vibration that connects you just within the moment of pure being, which is the truth. It's who we really are. And you can be authentically who you are. And I feel like that sort of, there's two sides to everybody, right? There's this sort of ever becoming flowing side.
Mm-hmm.
And we mean flow in the positive way, where you're flowing with timelessness, complete immersion, and intrinsic enjoyment. It's a spontaneous coming from within outwards, who you really are. That kind of flow is in the moment of becoming, always. But there's a second side that's harder to get to sometimes. It's the side of you that doesn't change. And this is sort of like that universal logic. This is truth, and truth is eternal in its objective form, like in its higher form. And all of us have that within us, but we can become disconnected in that becoming. So if you can bring those two into alignment, which sounds like a contradiction, then you can access a higher form of thinking that doesn't operate by this linear form, like I said before. Real truth moves in these inner contradictions. And if you do it the right way, you can flow with it. If you do it the wrong way, you end up in confusion and paradox.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where our species is right now. If you look at science, there's paradoxes in physics. It's like wave-particle dualities, and there's dark energy that the universe is expanding and it's contracting. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on because we're not thinking from that permanent truth. But that permanent truth is what allows us to flow. So I try to reach people on both fronts and see where their logic is, and see if society has disconnected them from their true self. And if they are, I try and meet them where they are flowing. And so for me, that recognizes, I would say, what language they speak, what culture they come from, what belief systems they have. And last point is that there's actually 5 what we call meta modes. All 8 billion human beings fit into these meta modes of art, religion, something called abstract philosophy, and then abstract science, and then genuine wisdom, which recognizes the beauty in all those modes in all people. And I feel like if you know which pocket people are in, or what percentage, you can really have a very high chance of aligning with them much more quicker than the ordinary marketing and the spam advertising and the superficial communication. And it builds trust very quickly. So that's kind of what I try to do. I'm curious what you guys try to do here at Humanity Together.
Oh, yes, we will definitely share that with you.
He can explain literally everything scientifically. He can explain everything scientifically. but I was
the common sense.
When I was in, till 52, I keep telling you, that was my cutoff point. Till 52, I looked at everybody. Oh, she's a woman. She's white. She's Chinese. She's this. She's a CEO. She can help me in this. She can help me with my art. I looked at a person like that and didn't even see their one-on-oneness. And then I literally had to do, for like 2 years, I had to say, I have to force myself to not look at that person, her image, her system relevant image, and look at that person and allow what unveils to become unveiled. Where I see, hey, she's one-on-one woman, I'm one-on-one human. she's not right or wrong. We are both right. We're exchanging our life perspective that comes from not knowledge, but experience, because knowledge is always behind experience. So, and now I look at people and I just enjoy and feel honored to meet one of 8 billion people and say, what is different because of this one? What is unique about this one of 8 billion people? Not woman, not man, not race. No, what is the one-on-oneness of that people? Doesn't matter if you're a prisoner in prison or you're president. It doesn't matter. What is unique about this one-on-oneness? Not what he is system relevantly, and that helped me tremendous. Makes life so much easier, and it is so much more enriching.
I love that, But I want to go to you, Anya. How do you connect with people, and how's that played out in your day-to-day life?
Hey, Chris. I don't know if you ever had the chance to watch the YouTube video I posted in Bring Humanity Together that discussed the concept of isolation being the dream killer. But during that process, essentially during that TED Talk, a woman gets on stage and talks about how they once held a support group out in the city where she had lived. And people would one by one come onto the stage. It took them a while to build rapport, but once people started coming on the stage, they were talking about the type of issues that they were facing. And when people were able to express themselves freely, those in the crowd who had the resources or connections to be able to provide assistance raised their hand and essentially helped problem solve for these individuals. So the moral of the story is the more opportunities we take in order to connect, the more opportunities we take to be heard, and the more opportunities we take to raise our hand and say, hey, I have a problem. Here's what I'm facing. Is there anyone that I can reach out? Is there anyone who has the resources or the knowledge or even like little nuggets of wisdom that they can share with me in order for me to get out of this rut? And so as I've been attending meetup, I went from going to one meetup event to then attending LinkedIn to then being connected with other people in other communities, which is how you and I were able to connect, Chris, was through these giant networks of one person referring me to another meeting, to another person referring me to someone else. And before I knew it, I had this abundance of resources. Like Peter and I would not have been able to sit down last week, and he would not have been able to review my resume had I not gone through this journey of just, not even saying self-discovery, but through the courage to just be present and to explore and to have conversations.
And when you really think about it, Anya, it's all about willing to show up, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but I think it's also the willingness to connect with other people. Because if you're not willing, you can show up, but if you're just kind of sitting in the corner and just, be, just hiding out, people aren't going to know that you're there. They might notice that you're there, but they're like, okay, well, they don't really participate. And they'll ask questions and they'll fill in your story for you, but you kind of need to be the writer of your own story. Do you need help? Do you have something to share? Do you want to contribute? What do you want to do? Because ultimately, if you don't speak up, no one's ever going to hear you.
You got to dance. It's the essential. You got to dance. You don't have to contribute or save people or heal people or give wisdom. But what I see even they think they have a problem, but they really don't have a problem. And then they move further away of themselves because somebody says, oh, I know when you have no money, that's what you have to do. Or when you are lonely, you have to do this.
That is.
And we never discover what we have because we don't dance with other people. When you dance with other people, you see, oh my God, that person has the same thing as I. I talked all over the world. And I always ask questions. I said, how is it with you guys when you do this, when this happens? And it's all over the same. And and we all feel, because system relevance makes us, a certain way. This demands to be relevant or to contribute in that way, but we naturally contribute by being. So we are the right way, and the right way where we can contribute. So we try to fit in, and then we are frustrated because we don't fit in, and then we have the interconnection with humans. And can you help me? Can you do whatever? But there is often nothing wrong, because I thought 53 years of my life, everything was wrong. Everything I did was wrong. I self-shamed myself. And until 53 years later, I find out there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to be fixed. I don't have to recondition. I just have to be me. And I'm okay being me. And it's okay that you disagree with me. It's okay to agree with me. It's not my job to save people or to bring them to my side. It is to dance with all people, with as many people as possible. And I agree with you, Anya, totally, that you gotta interact with humans, because humans created all systems, and we also created the digital world. So it has to be about humans and not the digital world and not the system. It has to be about humans always first, and they have to dance with each other. And the monopoly game that is our system, or the digital world that's our game, our digital game, we just have to be aware of that. And that helps a lot to update those games to our collective consciousness that we constantly expand every day, every second.
100%, Michael. So, Peter, I go to you too as well. I'm going to ask you that same question I just asked Anya. Is how do you connect with people on a day-to-day level? And of course, what you've been hearing right now, what's going through your mind right now, and I would love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. I mean, so it's been brought up already that Anya and I had our one-on-one, having that willingness to connect to people. So myself and Anya, I would say, have a better connection, and you, Chris, because I've had a one-on-one with you before, that when you don't have that one-on-one experience with people, I mean, we're all genuinely nice. I think we're all genuinely nice people, but it's always better to have that one-on-one, to actually see that person in a one-on-one setting versus a big group setting, to really get to know the person a little bit better. Without those one-on-ones with you, Chris, and with you, Anya, I wouldn't know y'all as well as I do. There's still more to know, I'm sure, but it's, as far as like with the other people in the human development branch, I feel more comfortable with Anya and Chris than I do anyone else in the group, because I've had those one-on-ones with you. And then also being genuine with people on those calls as well is massively important, because if you're not yourself, then you're not going to create those actual genuine connections that you want to, versus pretending to be something that you're not.
And when you really think about it, Peter, you can only fake it till you make it for so long.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it can't be forever.
Great, Chris. I love that. Only so long, till you run out.
Yeah. Because think about it. If you try to do something that you know that you're not, in one way, shape, matter, or form, people are going to realize that's not who you really are.
Yep.
And I got to bring this to the table to you, Peter, and then I'm going to ask this to everybody. I truly believe it's so powerful right now. I got to ask you all, but like I said, I'll start with you, Peter. Is it better to ask who you are versus what you do?
Most people don't know who they are. Most people don't know who they are. That's the problem.
Yeah. But like I said to Peter, is it the better question to ask is who you are versus what you do?
No, because what you do is who you are.
Mm,
Actions speak louder than words.
Well, I
it
have
should
a
be
different take on
expansion
that.
of who you are.
Yeah. But see, I have a different take on that, Peter, and here's why. Is when you know who you are, what you do is a natural byproduct of that.
Exactly.
In and of itself. So when you allow that to be there, that's a totally different dynamic than going straight to do, because I truly believe what we have done for so long, Peter, is we always ask, it's like, what do you do? And everything like that. But like to your point just a second ago, when you said you had those one-on-ones with me and Anya, and you really get to know us on a more deep and meaningful human level, that's about understanding who people are and
Yeah.
everything like that. So that's why I truly believe people, when you have that there, then like you said, when you do stuff, it's going to be more meaningful, because then again, you can do stuff all day long. But again, if you don't know who they are, it's not going to be that deep and impactful if you allow it to be there.
That's fair. I just believe actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But Anya, I got to go to you on that question. Is it better to ask who you are versus what you do?
Can you elaborate, as in like ask for yourself?
It can be for all of it.
I'm not sure I understand. I'm sorry.
From a literally a state of being concept, is it better to ask who you are, not only from your perspective, but for the people around you? Is it better to ask who are you versus what you do?
I mean, I think it's better to ask who you are, because ultimately, you know, what we do is relevant based on mood, interests, skill set, sometimes even just time frame. But who you are is also in a way ever changing, but ultimately it's much more stable of an answer than perhaps what you end up doing. I mean, I've also met, Harvard professors who have been doing it for,
I think
you know,
that's
ever. So, but okay, sorry, go ahead.
I think Chris, the question of who you are is almost impossible to answer today, because I know who I am, right? But it's not tangible. I can't explain the intangibility. The best I can is saying I'm 101, but I can't really explain who I am, because you see me in a different light than Anya sees me, or Peter or Mark sees me. So I think it's a hard question to answer. It's almost impossible. That's why Peter went to, he said, show me what you do, then actions are louder than words. And I agree with that, but it doesn't still, it shows you a part of who you are, because if you do your action are louder than words, yes, then you show me a part of who you are, that you execute your thoughts or visions or dreams. But it doesn't mean that you have any clue who you are. What you manifest doesn't mean that whatever you manifest doesn't mean you have a clue. I learned through manifesting who I am by creating art. I did 4,000 paintings. When you do a lot of paintings and stuff, you learn more of who you are, but it's not tangible. You cannot do it in linear language. You can express it. I mean, Mark is the scientist, and he looks at me and he knows I know who I am, but I cannot tangibly explain what that is.
Well, I'd like to go to you, Mark. I want to get your take on that.
I would say I'm a genuine philosopher, maybe, Michael, not just science. I think art and religion and all of these modes are important to define, first of all, who we can be and who we are.
Exactly. Yeah. Potential.
And the tricky thing here with the question, because it is a good question, is that we're talking about a dualism and a dialectic where they belong to each other. So being and doing, noun and verb go together. And when we think about not just being, but pure being, which is the foundation of all of our identities, the first moment of it is this sort of perfect authenticity in itself. And then we are the negation of that. We are the becoming of it. So everything about us that we think is substantial is pure becoming around this kernel of this perfect stability of authenticity. And when you align with that part of yourself, you achieve in your action, in your becoming, you achieve authenticity, you achieve destiny, which is an alignment with the necessity of this universe as who you really are, rather than only an agreement, which is an agreement with the necessity that generates a fate. So destiny is an inward becoming towards this unchanging substantiality, which are some pretty fancy words just to say that there's a permanent you that doesn't change when you're in your goodness, in your truth. And that leads you to the highest version of yourself as a destiny. So I feel like thinking, being, doing, as long as they're done in the right way of that substantial part of yourself, then it's always good. And that's what I think we need to aim for, is to flow with that or to just be it. Either way, I feel like we're all right in our perspective.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. This is we actually, our theory that we said, Chris, is actually, we proved it just now. In the whole talk, we just proved what we said, that everybody is right and everybody contributes, and in that our perspective aligns or widens up and adjusts and balances.
Yep, I truly see that. But I want to go to Peter. What did he take away from what Mark just shared? What kind of showed up for you there?
I mean, just a different side of thinking about things. But again, I still keep my whole thing about actions speak louder than words.
All right. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. Anya, what's your take on what Mark just shared?
I don't have anything new to add at this point. Thank you. But yes, I agree with everything we discussed.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think we pretty much completed that, Chris. Mark really put the Mark. This is actually a phenomenal, because we actually experienced our human potential to maximize our human potential in that moment right now, where nobody has something to say against it or for it, and say, "Hey, we all agree." I mean, what better could happen? What
We all
better could
agree, or we
happen?
all align.
We all align or agree. I mean, Chris, this was magic. I hope you sense that.
Well, I kid you not, Michael and Mark, by intentionally, and I've done that for whatever rhyme or reason has come to be. I'm surrounding myself with great people like Anya and like Peter, because I just know I can actually. It comes down to 3 words, and it comes again from John C. Maxwell when he says these 3 words. It's about listen, learn, and lead. If we can all become better listeners, then we can all become better learners, and then we can all become not only better leaders, but also create those very leaders that we are wanting to have others to become in and of itself. Because when you really think about it, leaders can't be leaders if they can't follow, and followers can't be followers if they can't lead. So when you kind of put that in context, that you just, again, through the gift of invitation, to kind of put that out there and let them choose that for themselves and make it about them and not about you. Again, like what Michael said, it's going to be magic. It is going to create a transformational experience. And that's why, like I said, I've learned so much from Peter and Anya and Keith and so many other different people as a part of bringing humanity together, because I just knew if I could surround myself with people who know what they know far better than me, it was not a matter of if this was going to get big. It was only going to be a matter of when, how that's going to be built out, how it would come to be, and everything. And but see, for me, what matters most is really, in one way, shape, matter, or form, Mark and Michael. I just knew when I was going to build this out, I'm just going to make it about Anya and make it about Peter, or make it about Jesse, or make it about Sharon or Michelle or Keith or Jason or whoever else it will be. Because again, more often than not, in whatever we do in life, if we always make it about the money, or make it about the position, or make it about the authority, or make it about the money, then it's always going to be relegated to those very things. And I said to myself, I want going to do that because I know where the true value therein lies, which is going to be in the next currency of humanity of two great things. Number one, the currency of humanity will be rooted in value and not money. And then the second one will be literally about impact. If I can have a huge impact on people like Anya and people like Peter and Keith and so many other different people who's a part of my life, then maybe, just maybe, they can have the very same thing effect on me. And by doing that and recognizing through the gift of the invitation, that gift of invitation not only becomes a bigger invitation than what you even possibly could fathom to even imagine, but that gift of invitation turns into the very gift of receiving. And when you allow that to kind of be in the mix of everything, I truly believe it's truly game on and everything like that. So that's what I've known and seen in the past few weeks and months and years that I've been on this journey, because it matters and everything like that. And like I said, I wouldn't be here today with Michaell or with you, Mark, or even with Anya or Peter if I just didn't be willing to show up, not only to show up, but like Anya said, be willing to put yourself there and everything like that. Because again, I was getting ready to say this when you were talking, Anya, about if you are even showing up, let's say, to a dance. You could show up to a dance, but like to Michael's point, if you're not even willing to dance, then why
Yeah.
you show up to the dance?
Why you show up? Exactly. It's like dressing up for a ball and then don't go to the ball. Why would you dress up for the ball to not go? If I'm going, putting a suit on and a monkey suit on and everything, why would I not go out? You know, I'm putting makeup on, I'm putting all the things on, and then I don't go out. It's if you play, you play. At least you're dancing. There's nothing in. You're not gambling. You're just dancing. You're just going in and interacting. That's all. And we can do this naturally. Every human can. There is no human on this world that cannot dance with other humans. There is none. Nobody. You have to prove that to me scientifically that this is possible. Nobody cannot dance. Everybody can dance and interact with others because it's natural. We do this with our six senses.
Yep.
And whatever you feel, you feel. If you feel ashamed, then go to other people where you don't feel ashamed. But dance. But keep dancing.
Well, I'm ready for that dance for humanity. I'm ready to take that dance.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So Michaell, thank you so much today, sir, for sharing your story with us here on Conversations for Humanity. Mark, if you could please, sir, send me a connection request on LinkedIn. I would love to get the know you, and let's definitely talk, sir, and everything like that. But I'm really, truly honored and grateful, Anya and Peter, thank you so much for answering that call and joining us today. You've just really blown it out of the park, you two. I just truly believe that, and I'm glad you just showed up today. But Michaell, looking forward to speaking and collaborating with you very soon. Hopefully, maybe the four of us can do something really great together. I truly believe that can be achievable. Yeah. But Michaell, I will go to you to kind of give your final thoughts in today's call, and I'll let you end the call on your share today. And what shows up for you in your final thoughts today, Michaell?
Final thoughts. Remember two things. Remember, you are one of one, because Peter and Anya kind of said the one-on-one, which is important too. But understand you are one of 8 billion people with a 8 billion life perspective. Your life perspective is different than anybody else. Just look at your family. And we are all one of one. And what an honor is to meet another one of one with another total different life perspective and experience. And and to see the one of oneness and the one to oneness is important, because that's the next step to intimacy, to be more intimate. So nobody was wrong in that. I just wanted to bring the wording to that you are one of one. There's only one of you on this whole planet. So there's never a reason to suicide. There's never a reason to kill. And nobody is right or wrong, because we are all
All righty, Michael, thank you so much, sir. We greatly appreciate you. And like I said, I can't wait to collaborate with all of you very soon. And like I said, Mark, if you could please send me a connection request. I'd definitely like to have an offline conversation with you. And of course, Peter and Anya, you guys are just truly amazing. I truly see great things happening with all of us here at Bringing Humanity Together. Thank you so much for joining too as well. So this is going to be the end of our Conversation for Humanity. We'll be uploading this later on and everything like that because I was really mindful of where Michael was today and everything like that. So we did this offline. But I'm going to share the recording with you, Michael, here very soon, and we'll get that over to you. You can share it with your
Perfect.
social media and everything like that. And like I said, let's collaborate. And like I said, what I'll do, Michael, and also I will do with you too, is Mark, as I will send you my great friend and partner here at Bringing Humanity Together, Keith Kuperman, his profile, and let's see if we can get on a collaboration call and see what we can do together. So again, Michael, Mark, Anya, and Peter, thank you so much for joining today on Conversations for Humanity. You guys have an amazing day. Make your day. And thank you so much. And you have an awesome day. Thank you so much, everyone.
It's been an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.